This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
Hey, Wes. Hey, Loco sports fans. Welcome to another edition of the LowcoSports Lowdown. I'm Justin Jarrett, joined as always by Wes Kerr. And Wes, we've got a lot to talk about today. I mean, not a lot per, it's the slower time of year, but certainly we have some big news to talk about, and we'll get into it in some depth later. But we were texting earlier about the huge news with the PGA Tour and Live Golf coming together, a merger, and it's going to shake things up once again. And we're going to be interested to talk later in the show with both Brian Rietveld and Krista Dunton, two great golf guests that have different areas of expertise, but they'll both have opinions, I'm sure, about, this big news in the golf world. And I'm sure Krista will also want to talk about Rose Zhang winning her LPGA Tour debut, which was phenomenal. But we've also got some basketball news, some signing, a signing and a transfer. One of our own in the transfer portal has a new home, a little college football recruiting news. And then you're covering you're on the PA for the rookie league, the 6U All-Stars this week, kicking it off for us in All-Star season. And then, of course, in the back half of the show, we're going to talk a lot of golf with Brian and Krista. But how you doing, buddy? You were out there last night for the big All-Star debut, right? The 6U All-Stars.
Yeah, we got to see the little guys take the baseball field. It was a great turnout, and really impressed by the show that we saw both at the plate and on defense. I mean, you talk about the development and fundamentals of learning how to play baseball, and these kids impressed. Obviously, you expect there are some kinks to be worked out that age, but I like what I saw, and it's really cool to get these kids exposed at a young age, and to have that competitive juices flowing at such a young age and have those opportunities is really cool to see. So looking forward to another game tonight. We'll be going all week here these next 4 days, Monday through Thursday over there at Oscar Fraser Park. But about this news this morning, I did not expect, I don't think any golf fans expected to wake up to go online or their social media feed and see what has happened in the world of golf. Absolutely shocked when I saw.
Apparently, the golfers didn't expect it either. This caught them by surprise too.
A couple like Morikawa, he tweeted something about did not expect to be seeing this kind of news. Waking up, checking social media, and that was a theme that we saw throughout several of these professionals who did not see this coming either. I was shocked a year ago when we saw what Liv did and the development they had with the money they acquired to develop a serious golfing league. And now the PGA Tour is trying to reap some benefits and merge these two together to create something even bigger. And, especially after you're seeing all these guys expand from the tour, now you're seeing a lot of them starting to get ready to come back, which, is definitely a situation that it's a tough one for both parties and a tough one for the fans as well. But obviously, we do get to see the merging of these two tours, these two leagues, meaning that we'll get best on best talent. We'll get everybody together, which certainly is a benefit. But obviously, there are a lot of cons coming into this situation as well with the PGA Tour. With some of its players who disbanded, now coming back, and then the whole development of how Liv sprung and how it's been able to, become such of a driving force now, and now it's basically become, alongside the PGA Tour, the biggest entity in golf now.
Yeah, and so it's just going to be really interesting to see how they pull this off. How what does this really mean? And Rietveld brought it up, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more later. But what does this mean for RBC's future with the tour? Because as he was saying, they've been kind of outspoken against any Saudi involvement and the Saudi money. So it's going to be something that I think is going to drive a wedge for a little while at least, and there's going to be some tension and some animosity because a lot of those guys, they jumped for the money. It was a quick payday. and now they essentially get to come back in without repercussion, and that's not going to sit well with the guys who stood by the PGA Tour, and Roy McIlroy, I'm sure, has some bitterness right now, some sourness, but at the same time, we had more or less a monopoly on professional golf with the PGA Tour, and I think there is something to be said for some competition in the marketplace, and kind of pointing out some of the shortcomings, some of the missteps, but I think certainly the PGA Tour has played a delicate hand here by keeping the players out in the cold. I mean, the players learning this news the same way we did is kind of a black eye, I think, and they're going to have to do some work to massage that and get the players back on board here, because there's definitely some questions to be asked right now from the player standpoint about how this came about, and especially those who stuck with the PGA Tour. What's our big payoff here? When do we get rewarded?
For us
is kind of the question. Yeah, and now it also puts those guys back in a lurch who were kind of on the fence, and they got the opportunity to bump up a tour this year because of the guys who did jump over. What happens with them now? Where's their status go? So there's a lot of questions that still have to be answered here, and a lot of ground to cover. And we'll cover some of it later in the show, but with our golf guests. But let's talk a little bit about hoops, because we got a couple basketball players going to new homes. Janiah Farabee, first of all, senior for Hilton Head High, committing to Fayetteville Technical Community College up in North Carolina. Opportunity to keep playing and find the place that's a fit for you. She's going to be able to go start her higher education there, play a couple of years, and hopefully hone her game and get an opportunity to continue at a 4-year school. And certainly she's got a lot of ability. She's got some skill, athleticism. You can see the tools for her to develop into a Division II or potentially low Division I player.
Yeah, and I got to see her play for the last 4 years, and I would think there's still some stuff she needs to work on as a player, but when you look at the pure talent, there's a lot there, and I think she has a solid chance of making something out of it at the college level. And this gives her an opportunity. I mean, we've talked a bunch about the chance to go to these smaller schools, whether it's the NAIA or JUCO, in this route going to Fayetteville Community College to get this opportunity. I mean, you look at a former Hilton Head Seahawk in Savannah Ryer went to Shelton State, and obviously found multiple ways to hone her craft. That ended up at Hawaii, and kind of the rest is history after that. So there is a path, and it has been blazed before here in the Lowco and Hilton High to go to a junior college, community college like Fayetteville, Shelton State, etc., and show off what you're made of. And so big summer up ahead for Janiah Farabee, getting into what's going to be an important couple of years for her in her development of her game, if she wants to continue to play and blaze that path towards a 4-year university, which is the goal if you go to a 2-year community college. So we wish Janiah the best of luck. I mean, she's had a couple of versatile abilities over there on the court for Hilton Head High. She's a slasher. She can get to the rim. She's got some good quickness and athleticism. I think her defense was pretty solid for the most part over as a Seahawk. Sure, her aggressiveness, intensity was very good out on the courts. If she can improve that shot from the outside, do a little bit more with her passing, she's certainly got a couple of excellent talents out there on the court. And I think from what you saw as a freshman to now, she's definitely made some strides, but I think she has a lot more room to grow. And here's hoping that you'll have coaches at the next level who can provide those kinds of adjustments to her game to make her fit into the system, and also to make her show off that talent and impress scouts or college programs that might be looking to take a chance on one of those players in the next level. So she's got a lot going for her. Really impressed me as a person. Great attitude on and off the court, and someone who's been working hard. And she's been a big catalyst alongside Linda Young. Linda's she's kind of taking a little off her burden, because it looked like Janiah was going to be the star of that team those last few years, but then when Linda stepped in, she kind of took over as that go-to rebounder and scorer. I'm not saying Janiyah wasn't a big part, because she was, but she kind of settled into her role as a more of a supporting cast kind of player, and that's kind of what we're looking for when she's going to the college level. Can she handle the responsibility with getting that moderate usage and doing the most out of it as a playmaker? Because that's where we kind of see her game right now, as someone who can look to drive, pass to open shooters, someone who could ignite that offense and then hustle back up on the other end. So she's got a lot going for her. Really impressed me as a person, as a player, and the past been plays before, so there's no reason why Janiyah can't find a way to achieve those goals.
Yeah, and I actually think, being in that role, kind of in the background, so to speak, doing the little things that maybe don't show up so much, that probably suited her, because that's going to help her at the next level, because that's probably going to be her role. She's probably going to be coming off the bench, giving a little spark, or maybe being a spot player who comes in and gives some energy, gets a steal and an easy bucket on defense, gets to the rim, gets the crowd going, gets the energy up. So I think it's a great situation for her. I mean, let's face it, worst case is she goes up there and she plays 2 years, and she decides she doesn't want to play anymore after that, but she's got an associate's degree. So take it where it is and see where it takes you from there. And I think it's a great choice for Janiyah, and I certainly wish her well. And with the transfer portal being what it is these days, you never know where that road ends up. And Dior Shelton started off at Claflin, went into the portal after the season, and now she is headed to Limestone, another Division II program, but certainly a higher caliber of Division II program at Limestone. And Dior continues to impress, and we know that work ethic is going to play wherever she goes. And there's no guarantee this is the last stop for her either. I mean, if she excels here, and there's some opportunity there, she may jump back in that portal and get a chance at the D1 level, either as in her undergraduate, or if she gets her degree, she could go as a graduate transfer.
Yeah,
and play somewhere else.
I think it's a step up for Dior Shelton, and I mean, no one has worked as hard as her. We saw it over Hilton at Christian Academy, and we talk all the time about how well her parents provide that spark, but you have to have that innate ability yourself as a player, and she's certainly showed that, and trying to pick out the best opportunities to continue to grow her ability and her path. And I think Limestone's a great fit for her. That's a team that's been very competitive in Division II hoops, and she expects to get those opportunities to come on the court, to get some good minutes over here for a team that will compete to try to win. And so I think that's kind of a win-win situation here when you look at what you're getting with her opportunity at Limestone. And like you said, it might not be the last stop for her. This could be a great fit if it goes well. She certainly could want to continue and play out the rest of her career here. But if she's looking to continue the upward trend, the transfer portal is certainly there for her to continue that climb up to potentially a Division I school. So it's a tough kind of mix and balance when you try to choose where you're headed. I mean, you want to play for a prestige. I mean, most students athletes want to play for a prestigious school or like a high regarded Division I school. But it's never easy to earn those opportunities because you certainly got to prove yourself even harder. I mean, when you're going from those lower levels, and no respect to. You have to give respect to all of these. I mean, we just talked about it with Janiyah Therapy. I mean, the talent level at Division II, Division III basketball, and we'll see that with USCB, because we're going to have some exceptional talent coming over there at the D2 level this coming year. But it's no joke. I mean, these ladies, these guys, they can play hoops, and the compete level, just the drive, maybe even more, because they're trying to do more. They're trying to achieve more with the limited pathway that they got. When you look at Division I compared to maybe, because they have more to prove when you're at this level. So I think the situation is going to work well for Dior, who's always had that chip on her shoulder, throughout her career. And I think she's going to take that as stride into this new opportunity. And I think that I agree with you. I think it may not be the last stop if she continues to show herself out and want that next opportunity. But we'll have to see how this year goes. So we wish Gio the best of luck. What a fantastic young woman. Great family. Love talking to her. Definitely going to have to get her on for the interview at some point. But she is a fantastic young woman, and certainly another one of those who is going to do well whenever she pursues.
Yeah, we'll have to get her on this summer for sure and talk about the next move and what's coming next for her. Some more recruiting news from the football side. Kayvon Chisholm from Nay Estill, now Hampton County, picks up another offer from the Citadel. I believe this is his fourth offer. I'm losing track of which ones they are. Do you have them?
Kayvon Chisholm. This dude is he's been a monster athlete, whether it's on the football field, the basketball court, but it's been so fun to watch him play, be able to cover him this last year. But you mentioned the offer from Citadel, racking him up so far. He is also.
All right. We got Toledo,
Charleston
Southern, Anderson, and now Citadel.
Citadel, yep.
Yeah, many more to come. Many more to come.
You talk about a domino too to fall, and you get some more coming soon. But he's a Division I level athlete, big monstrous frame, works so hard down there in the trenches, and he has been an absolute star to watch. And excited to see him, usher a new era over there in Hampton County with the Hampton County Hurricanes coming up this fall. So we talked about that basketball run. He was just, a smile on his face, just the energy grew that team. Great guy to watch. He is the man, and just really excited for what could be a big future in store for Kayvon.
Really quiet guy, plays really loud. I can't wait to watch him play football this season. I mean, he was fun to watch on the basketball court, but football is really his true love, I think, and where I think his future lies. Because he looks like a monster on the high school basketball court. He's not going to on the college basketball court, but he is going to look like a monster on a college football field. And he's an impressive athlete. He's an impressive young man, very quiet, a man of few words, but a sharp wit about him too. Like if you get close enough to get him to talk a little bit, he's really got a sharp wit about him. He's top of his class type of student as well. So very bright future for Kayvon Chisholm. Can't wait to see what he and the Hurricanes do this fall, and I'm looking forward to being out there week 0 out at Colleton County for a new rivalry showdown.
One incredible game.
It's going to be hype. It's going to be hype. I mean, Hampton might run them off the field. Hampton's going to be really good. Really, really good. And they might run them off the field, but that won't necessarily mean anything about Colleton either. Because they're just programs in different places right now.
It's a historical game. When you look at the context of high school football in the Low Country, it is one of those games you mark because of the history of these areas and these regions of the state. And you just – I expect it to be an absolute massive turnout with these communities.
Yeah, I'm going to go hungry. Going to be some good tailgating going on over there. Country folks getting together. The tailgate's going to be good. All right, Wes. Well, one other thing before we go to a break, and then we'll come back and talk some golf with our golf guests coming up, our little roundtable with Brian Rietveld and Krista Dunton. But we mentioned earlier the Dixie Youth Rookie League Tournament, the 6U baseball tournament, got started last night in Bluffton. Tell us about Game 1. Was it? Were there any Little League home runs? I mean, was it just chaos, pure chaos? Or
there were many moments of chaos throughout the game, but I thought it flowed really well. Obviously, the rules are different at this level compared to maybe what you see at the majors or the ozone level of Dixie Youth baseball. But these kids, they fought, they competed, and we had a couple of really nice plays. We almost had a double play. We had a pop up and almost doubled the runner off at first base. But we saw some strong play on both sides. Obviously, I mean, when you look at this level, I mean, you can't expect too much. But I thought these kids, competed hard and showed out there. So Our first game, a battle in Bluffton between Bluffton American and Bluffton National, and it was Bluffton American with the 15-4 victory in a 5-inning game. And some of the standouts for Bluffton American, how about Dylan Roper, Tate Bigwood, and Luke Stefanik showing out there for Bluffton American. So they pick up the W, and they are back out on the field today against Beaufort. So if they win that one, they will earn the right to be in the championship game. Just a three-team bracket here. So just one game each day, and then Wednesday we'll have Bluffton National, and then Beaufort, and then depending on what happens after that, we'll have the championship, the final 2 games on Thursday. But what a great opportunity for these younger kids to get exposed to what it takes to compete on the baseball field, because you're a coach, how to develop these kids, and I guess there are a couple of differences on how you treat and how you coach these kids at this young level. A lot more of just encouragement, praise. You want to make sure these kids have that kind of built-in motivation. These kids love playing baseball, but it's definitely a different approach for coaching at this level. There's always some similarities and differences, but these kids they love to play, love the smiles, the energy out there in the field, and it sparks that opportunity for all of them to continue playing this for a long time, especially at this young of age. So just great to see the amount of young baseball players out here in the Lowco and competing and showing out on a big stage.
Yeah, we didn't have 6U All-Stars when we came through. That's a new thing, and I'm a little torn on it. At first, I thought, "Oh, that's crazy. That's too young." But then, the more I thought about it, I thought about how there were a lot of kids at that age group who were pretty good players, and they probably could have played up an age division, but they didn't for whatever reason. And there were some that they could throw the ball so hard that it was almost dangerous for them. Like, you had to play them at first base because they were going to hurt somebody because nobody could catch it. And so when I think back on that, I think, okay, well, yeah, if we can get those kids, all of those kids together, the kids who can throw it and catch it a little bit and play a few games at the end of the year against like competition, that's a positive. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I hope we're taking it as coaches in the spirit that we should, which is still a very much learning and developing environment. I think the really important thing at that age is not only tell the kid what they should have done, but tell them why. Explain to them why and build that baseball IQ, that understanding of the game, because that will help them make the right decisions in the future.
I'll tell you,
knowing what play they should have made doesn't really help that much unless they understand the why of it.
Yeah. And then that's when you learn from that mistake, and then you won't make it as much later on. Right. And you build those habits, and then they just go from there. But I'll tell you what, I saw some outstanding base running from these kids. Obviously you have coaches telling them where to stay or should I advance, but that some of them with just the innate knowledge of what to do in a certain situation of making a force out at third, when's the force on, those kinds of things. A lot of those kids picked them up really well, which really impressed me at such a young age.
And that's what the playing at this level will do. The all-star thing will do is just they get to see it at full speed. They get to see it with other kids who can make the plays rather than kids who can't. That's when you play against higher level of competition, it tames out a lot of those bad habits, especially base running, because it's going to turn into an out if you do it against good teams. So, I think it's a good thing overall. I'm a little torn about 6U playing to win, like that feels a little weird, but we got to start it somewhere. And certainly, as long as we're doing it in the right spirit, I think it can be a positive thing. So, well, let's get to a quick break, Wes. And after we hear from our sponsors, we'll be back to talk golf with Brian Rietveld and Krista Dunton coming up here on the LowcoSports Lowdown.
Hey, Loco sports fans. This podcast and all of our grassroots local sports content are made possible by support from community sponsors, including Mickelson Law Firm, the official real estate attorneys of Lowco Sports, and the presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. Our original sponsors are still among our greatest supporters. Ryan and Tiffany Mickelson are community pillars who will be in your corner no matter your legal needs. When you need legal representation, call on the attorneys who support Team Lowco. Call Mickelson Law Firm. Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, the official hospice provider of LowcoSports and the only not-for-profit hospice in southern Beaufort County. For more than 30 years, the committed, compassionate staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry have been there to ensure your loved ones find comfort, honor, and dignity at the end of life. Because at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, it's not about dying, it's about living. Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of LowcoSports. Jan Lucas and his team provide thorough, detailed home inspections aimed to ensure everyone goes into the transaction with open eyes and confidence. Jan would rather reveal an inconvenient truth than look the other way and provide reassurances that could come back to burn the buyer in the long run. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and need an honest, reliable inspector, call on Homegrown Home Inspections, official sponsors of LowcoSports. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of LowcoSports. If your business or organization has a website and you're trying to figure out what SEO is, you need to call on Denise and Dave Sinkovich at DDS Web Design. They'll provide a free consultation and do all the behind-the-scenes work to boost your search engine optimization and get your website found online so you can take your business to the next level. DDS Web Design, official SEO experts of LowcoSports. American Wood Reface, sustaining sponsors of LowcoSports. Does your kitchen need a facelift? Before you start picking out new cabinets, give Ben and the team at American Wood Reface a shot. They can reface your existing cabinets to overhaul your aesthetic without the hefty price tag and reimagine your kitchen at a price point you can manage. Be sure to tell them Lowco sent you, because every referral helps support LowcoSports. 4M Metals, sustaining sponsor of LowcoSports. Got metal? Your roof might need it. Metal roofing advantages include better energy efficiency, weather protection, longevity, a more aesthetically pleasing design, and the product is all green. So if you've been thinking about a new roof, go metal. Let 4M Metals be the difference in your roof. Jay's Barbershop. It's the talk of the town and the place to be in Ridgeland. If you need your ears lowered, head over to Jay's for a fresh cut and great conversation with good folks. And tell them Lowco sent you. Local Pie, official pizza sponsor of LowcoSports. They sling some of the best pies in the Lowco, and my kids say the mac and cheese is the best around. Hungry? Hit up Local Pie, longtime supporter of LowcoSports.
Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry, the official floor cleaners of LowcoSports.com. If your feet tell you your floors need cleaning, call on Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry. They provide residential and commercial services, including cleaning carpet and area rugs, tile and grout, upholstery, curtains and drapes, mattresses, and more. But most importantly, they'll get those floors so clean, your feet will thank them. Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry.
Hilton Head Prep is a sustaining sponsor of LowcoSports, and we tell you all about the Dolphins' athletic exploits. But did you know it's also the #1 ranked private K-12 school in Beaufort County and ranks in the top 2.5% of schools nationwide? Visit hhprep.org to see what Hilton Head Prep has to offer. Beaufort Academy is a sustaining sponsor of LowcoSports, and we love covering the Eagles. With a student-to-faculty ratio of 7-to-1 and an average class size of 14 students, Beaufort Academy could be just the educational solution you're looking for, with more one-on-one attention. BA has a strong history of working with the whole child to prepare each student for college and life. Check them out at BeaufortAcademy.org. Thank you to all of our sustaining and supporting sponsors for their support of LowcoSports.com. Go Loco!
Oh, I lost Wes. There he is. Not sure what happened, but Wes got removed from the shot. But welcome back on the LowcoSports Lowdown. Justin Jarrett joined by Wes Kerr. And we've got a couple guests waiting in the green room, so we're going to get them in here to talk some more golf, although I'm not seeing Krista's screen right now. But you there, Krista? Rietveld, what's going on, buddy?
Yo, what's happening?
Krista has gone black on us, but she'll be back momentarily, I am sure. But big news today, buddy. We were texting a little bit earlier about the fallout that could be coming from the merger of the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, and Live Golf. So what do you make of this?
Still in shock, man. This makes no sense. And especially, you get on Twitter and you find out the PGA Tour pros are finding out at the same time that we are. That's always amazing for $1 billion industry. And on top of that, sent a few messages to some of our heritage guys, and this caught them off guard too. So it's I think it's got everybody on the edge of their seat to see what's going to happen here.
Krista, you're with us. We had some difficulty getting you on the other day. You were traveling, but welcome to the show, and we can actually hopefully hear each other this time. We were just talking with Brian about the big news this morning about Live Golf and PGA Tour coming together. What are your thoughts on this? This is out of left field. Oh, we don't have your audio, Krista. Krista, we can't hear you. Not sure what's going on. Don't have you. We'll try to get Krista's audio sorted out here, or she will try to. You might have to go into your settings, your mic settings, and change your mic is what will probably work. But Brian, you said you exchanged some messages with the Heritage folks, and they were as surprised as we were to hear this?
They are in the same boat as us. So I think everybody in America outside of Jay Monahan and the Live folks, it sounds like Greg Norman is also in our boat. If you look, he has not been really named in any of this. I think they have officially cut ties, whether he knows that or not yet. I don't think we'll see old Greg Norman anytime soon.
I've been watching Succession, man. This is very Succession.
Very inspired. Absolutely. 100%.
Nobody knows what's going on.
No.
All kinds of money changing hands. Nobody knows who's in charge or if they're going to have a part in it going forward. The thing that, like you said, the thing that blows my mind the most is just that the players found out at the same time we did. I mean, that is just bananas. And you have to think there's going to be some sourness about that.
A lot of animosity. A lot of it's going to be interesting to see what happens when these players merge together, and especially coming up to the U.S. Open. I'm sure like the big storyline, coming into a major championship, you're going to see all those players. There's definitely going to be a lot of discussion on this merge. What do you think the vibes are going to be at the U.S. Open after a big dropping of news like this?
Yeah, I mean, is it going to be like we told you so? Coming from the Live guys, I mean, Rory and Justin, Adam Scott, these guys left a whole bunch of money on the table, and they were trying to be supportive. They were trying to be the face of the tour, and then today, boom, they get this news, and apparently there's a 4:00 meeting of the minds up in Canada. So that's a great question, Wes. That's one of those things. I haven't actually watched the full swing, but season 2, I would imagine is going to be amazing with all of this. Because just like you said, it's like Succession, but even bigger, trying to now all of a sudden we have a super league. It looks like.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And I think about all the people who left the PGA Tour to take jobs with golf. What? Oh my gosh, it's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess to put the pieces back together. You thought there was a wedge before when they came together at Augusta. Holy cow! Let's wait until they come back together at the U.S. Open and see what the wedge looks like now. There's going to be a lot of intrigue. We're going full WWE versus NWO action here, but I think we lost Krista, but hopefully we'll get her back in here to talk a little bit more about her programs, LPGA Girls Golf, and all the things that she's doing. But Ryan, I know you're familiar with her work and not only as an instructor, but just building the golf community here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're seeing a second coming of female golf as well. Like on the good news of golf, you have Rose Zhang this past weekend. Yeah. Just come out and goes back-to-back NCAA championships, and then comes out week 1, not even a member yet. It goes out and wins, incredible. And so, I mean, between her and Nelly and a few others, I mean, I think that's going to keep on going. And so, yeah, you keep getting these young ladies playing with the guys. On top of that, down here, a lot of times when we go out to cover the boys in the spring, we see the ladies out there playing with them too. Yep. And they're going toe for toe. So keep that program going.
We've got some talented high school girls golfers for sure. And some are already up in the college rank, especially the Wilkie's over there in Hilton Head Prep, and a bunch of others as well, who have gone through the junior and now high school ranks, and have grown a passion for the game. So, what are you hoping that these kind of charity opportunities and these lessons do to deliver those monies that will allow more opportunities for these young girls to grow their passion and take up the sport?
Yeah, and throw in the Burnett sisters. They're up there at Powerhouse USC of all places, which is amazing. Between programs like this, getting some foot in the door and accessibility. Listen, golf is still, it blew up during COVID, but it's still insanely expensive, and we don't have too many spots on the island and Bluffton that aren't necessarily open to just anybody coming out. There's still some old school rules, and there's still a lot of money on the price tag to play. So if more and more of these ladies, as well as young guys, can get out there and play, just getting out there and seeing and getting exposed. I mean, that's part of the reason why Top Golf, as cheesy as it is sometimes, like, it's amazing. It gets new people involved and just getting accessibility. And so more power to Miss Dunton for that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, First Tee, they're now partnered with First Tee the Low Country, which is obviously a great driver of introducing young people to the game and people who may not have the means to otherwise access the game. They got their little par 3 course out there that you can play for next to nothing, and nice driving range. And so that's a great thing. And certainly we have a lot of people who are pulling their weight to try to make that happen. I mean, the HHI JGA has been a tremendous resource too, where kids can get dip their toe in the competitive side of the game. And, they have a lot of scholarships and things like that make it possible for people to play. But you keep your finger on the pulse a little bit, so tell us about some of the guys playing in college, guys and girls playing in college, and how they did this year. Obviously, Grizz had a kind of an up and down start at Alabama, but at the end of the year, he was a key guy for them, had a 66 to help get that regional title, and then played, pretty steady at nationals as well. But more importantly, just got that experience of getting a few rounds at nationals under his belt going into his sophomore year. Yeah.
When it comes to, golf is hard, man. Right. I mean, we see it down here when, a year ago, we thought for sure Matt Fitzpatrick was going to win the Heritage, and then he misses the cut. A year later he wins. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and it's a big step going from, Hilton Head Prep and then just dominating the junior ranks and then going to talk about a powerhouse. I mean, when you look at the PGA Tour, it's Alabama, it's Georgia, nonstop, top to
Oklahoma
bottom.
State.
Exactly.
That's kind of the list.
Yeah, for sure. And blue chip all the way. And so I know he's there with Nick Dunlap, who has been a stud. He's another junior heritage alumni. He just qualified yesterday for the U.S. Open. He actually medaled. Caleb Surratt, not from South Carolina, from North Carolina, but he was down at junior heritage every year. He crushed it this year up at Tennessee. Won the SEC individual, and I can't remember what he did at the NCAAs, but tons of talent. Like every year we always tell people, like, get out there to that junior heritage, because you got pros at age 15, 16, 17 that you get to see early on. But it'll be interesting to see like how Jerry Bruns, he's kind of had some struggles with some injuries and illness. See what he does over the next year too as he gets going.
I know Andrew.
No question.
Fall start to his season, but what did you think of his career so far at Clemson? For maybe Rivers stand out, and a couple other guys that those are mentioned, because Swanson certainly has impressed with. He's certainly taken a step up so far in his college career.
Yeah, Swanson kind of ended his high school career, not bad, but he wasn't lightning. It wasn't lightening it up at all. And he goes to Clemson, and he seemed to find it. And he had a couple. I don't think he won any individual tournaments. I'd have to go back, but he's definitely had some hot moments throughout the year. It looks like Jordan Bird's got that program back to getting up there with some of those blue chip programs. after being down for a couple of years. They were a couple strokes away from making it to the NCAA tournament this year. So yeah, Swanson, again, sometimes it being that hit at age 18, 19, 21, 22, like, hey, not everybody's Jordan Spieth, that's going to come out at age 21 and crush at the John Deere. So it takes a little bit of time when you start playing with these studs.
He won the Canopoli in Hawaii back in the fall.
That's right.
Yeah, I thought he had won something. I was just trying to look it up. So that was awesome. Let's try to get Krista back in here. See if we can hear her now. We got you?
Does that work?
Yay! We got Krista. It's been a challenge, but we got Krista on. Krista, you were fired up to talk to us about this big golf merger, and then we couldn't hear you. So, what are your thoughts on this?
I guess my only thought, especially one being in the industry, two, as even if I was in the industry, was all the hoopla made of the whole thing, and between the PGA Tour and LIV and all the media covers and discrepancies. Now it's like there's this wonderful merger. It kind of feels like, what have you been doing to us this whole time? I mean, I almost feel a little bitter, like, what a waste of just energy. And I don't know, like, was that all just a front, or it just seems like a lot of wasted energy and drama to then all of a sudden come together and hold hands.
It seems like a lot of playing with emotions and livelihoods too. I mean,
you got to feel for those players who stuck around the tour, did the right thing, and just the moral correct thing to continue their allegiance to the PGA Tour. And then when something like this happens, certainly there's going to be a lot of just anger and animosity at this point when you see some of these other guys coming back and being able to join penalty free back on the tour. So you expect a lot of animosity and just kind of disapproval from some of these guys who've stayed true to the tour.
Plus, I haven't seen any of the details as far as the Saudi involvement and where the money's coming from and some of the issues that people had strong opinions about for not joining. So I'd be curious to see how that all unfolds.
Yeah, and Brian was mentioning this morning that RBC, was one of those who was kind of outspoken about the Saudi involvement. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that impacts some of the sponsorship decisions as well, and certainly could bring, the heritage sponsorship talks into play. So, very interesting. But let's shift gears a little bit and talk about all the good that you're doing in the community, because you're a world-renowned instructor, but you are focusing a lot of your efforts locally and especially on kids. And I love coaching baseball and now softball, and so I have a ton of respect for people who are trying to do something for our kids and build these programs. But tell us a little bit about your LPGA girls golf chapter and the fundraiser that you had the other night out at Berkeley Hall to support it.
Sure. So the LPGA Girls Golf Club is a program that the LPGA started. Actually, a friend of mine started it, years ago, and it's really a program for girls age 6 to say 16, 17. The whole premise was to get girls playing together in a little bit of a kind of threatening environment, or at least get them in with each other so they can feel comfortable. Similar to the first T's that we build off of, they call it the 5 E's. So empowerment, exercise, energize, engage, and enrich. So it ties in both golf instruction, but with building young girls' character development and kind of just creating good human beings, basically. We've done a lot through here. I started, I guess, like 14 years ago. And of course, my 12-year-old daughter wants nothing to do with golf, and she's playing, Tormenta soccer and travel, soccer and basketball. So part of me would like to see her a little more involved, but it's been great to touch so many kids in this area, and fun to see girls that I've worked with that are either continuing with golf or doing other sports locally. And we're kind of a little more of a grassroots program and getting them playing, just getting them together, getting them to meet other girls that want to play golf, build some friendships, get them some skills. And it's been fun over the years to see a lot of the girls that now are playing in certain colleges, that are in high school, that are playing for their high school team. I think the big opportunity for us is getting the girls starting young, but then developing those players in middle school and keeping them developing competitively to play on the high school team and maybe have an opportunity to play in college. So it's where I see the growth would be, we get a lot of the early ones going on, and then the kind of feed them through maybe the PGA Junior League, which is a good transition program, but I'd like to see them to start to play more tournaments and get ready to play for their schools and play at the next level. And I think that's kind of where you lose them, is around 12, 13, when they need to start maybe putting a little more effort and take it a little more seriously, and they start to, feed out a little bit. So I think, what I'd like to see in our area is to keep that growing for boys and girls, but especially for the girls, because I think the numbers just dropped a little too much.
And how do you bridge that gap then of, keeping them on that route and, telling them that this game can provide not just, opportunities to earn scholarships at the college level, but it's a sport that you can continue to for it to be a part of you throughout the rest of your life. It's to teach you so many lessons. There's so many benefits of staying with a sport like this compared to others that you can be enriched by throughout the entirety of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big message too. We get them going early, which is awesome. And then I think it's going to take myself and a few other local instructors to actually just get some after school, middle school programs and pull some of the kids locally that want to do some more group instruction for them. I do some individual. I don't teach a ton of juniors. My main focus is adults, but I enjoy working with kids. It's a different animal, so to speak, but especially elite junior golf, that's a whole nother niche. But I think I'd like to kind of see where I could help those, like I said, those middle school girls, to get them to play competitively in high school and have an opportunity. Because a lot of the college programs, unfortunately, they're pulling a lot of Europeans. I mean, they're pulling a lot of scholarships to Europe, a lot in Ireland. So, I'd like to see some of that money stay within the States too. So I think we just have to create better programs for those girls, encourage them to play with the boys. I mean, I'm always telling you, the girls I work with, go out there and play with the 6th, 7th, 8th grade high school boys and go tee it up from the back tees and be competitive and try to hit it far, and just, they'll make you better. So I think it's just getting the volume down and just getting it going and continue to grow it.
Are they all Rose Zhang fans? Or,
oh my gosh, isn't that amazing?
If they're not already.
Crazy. And she made a little side note on that. I know, she made $419,000 on that win, and then you look at what Hovland won, like $3.2 million. She's unbelievable. I don't know if you saw her interview, but the perspective she has on just playing and winning and not doing it for titles, and she's so old beyond her years and has a gift in there, maturity wise, that I think she could do some really incredible things. She's going to be fun to see, actually.
She can also hit a 180-yard hybrid to 5 feet.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the talent and the composure, and is doing it for the right reasons. And I liked her quote where she said, I'm at Stanford. My dad was a baseball coach at Stanford, so I grew up playing out there. And anyways, but she said, I'm kind of just a golfer. Like, I'm around all these incredible athletes and, academic minds, and I kind of feel inferior to them because I just play golf. It was pretty funny. Wow. But I think she'll be fun to watch, and she's a great role model, for the kids coming up. And, like I said, that the girls golf program, they just had their 1 millionth girl go through that program. So there's over 500 chapters throughout the country. We've this year merged with the first tee of the Low Country, which is a great connection. And with Pat Suck, I'm hoping that we can kind of grow the program more. They can become more involved and get some of their staff and instructors tied in with it as well.
Well, we talked to Brian Rietveld about some of the girls golfers around here in Lowco that went on to do it in college at the next level. Tell me how impressed you are of some of the talent that we've seen, not just, coming here for the junior heritage. We see a couple of excellent girls coming from across the country, but just here locally, the rise of some female golf talent that, continue to hone their game throughout the various programs, and some of you mentioned, and now they're doing great things. I mean, just how cool is it to see those fruits, pay off for yourself, and just kind of rewarding for everyone involved.
Oh, absolutely. A good friend of mine, Tim Cook, Tim teaches a lot of elite juniors over at CPOD. So he does an awesome job with that market and that niche. And I give him 100% of credit and kind of feed even more serious players that I might have over to him, because he has such a good structured program and does a great job. And he's got a ton of ton of talented young girls, and they're collegiate players that are coming out of this area and doing great stuff. So, there's no reason not to. I mean, we've got the environment and the accessibility, hopefully, for the kids to kind of shine while they're here. They should be playing. I think all our school programs should get. I'm surprised they're not even bigger. I mean, May River's got a decent program. Hilton had developed one. Preps had a great reputation. The girls team, obviously, and through the JPGA and theater programs like that. So I think it could just only keep getting better.
Yeah, I think so too. Tell us a little bit more about your program. And you said it's 14 years now. How has it grown over that time? How many kids are involved now? And
it's grown. It's grown and it's kind of shrunk at the same time. So we've had up to maybe 80 girls. That's a lot to manage. So we run like 10 2-hour sessions from, say, mid-January, trying to wrap it up by early May. Spring's so busy on my end with golf schools and the stuff I do at Berkeley Hall. So we try to do it more in the wintertime when all the pros that I bring in to help teach, because you got to recruit enough people to get in there and teach and work with the kids. So we're down to maybe about 30 to 40, which is a little more manageable. Yeah. And again, I think the key would maybe be to keep those numbers not so big, but maybe then stem off and do a program for the older ones, like do an 11 to 14-year-old program outside of because I think our niche is more of a developmental 7 to 10 years old, 7 to 11, and then maybe to start a second one for maybe that next age group. And I think that's a way where we can help grow it and develop it even better.
And how cool and how cool has it been to do these fundraisers, to teach not just, young girls, but women, females in general about the game of golf, and be able to give back at the same time. It's just a great win-win situation for everyone, and there's nothing better than giving back to this community.
Yeah, that event's really dear to my heart. I mean, I think the neat thing that I've seen with this girls golf program, and I've got people that have made contributions that so women that they don't even have skin in the game, so they don't have any girls playing. But whether it's a Low Country Women's Golf Association that gives us donations, members that I've taught that are say, hey, here's one of my relatives, this woman, one of the relatives passed away, and she wanted to make a donation in that relative's in that person's name through our program. People there say, hey, I've been part of the program before. I moved to Florida, but I still support what you're doing. And it's really touched a lot of lives, which is special. And then I enjoy bringing in other guest professionals, fellow colleagues of mine. We had 6 female golf professionals, 3 top 100 teachers in there. And so it's women growing the game for girls. So it's all women amateurs that are participants, and then all women golf professionals that are doing the teaching. Some are teaching professionals. Stephanie George is our head professional at Berkeley Hall. Monica Franklin's a head golf professional over at Brays Island. So we've got people in the teaching world, people on the business side, the club end of it. But it's a neat coming together of women to grow the game for girls and give girls more opportunity. And it's they like being together. I mean, it's kind of a win-win. I hate to exclude the guys, but at the same end, it's nice to kind of build that little niche a little bit. And shoot, I'd even expand it and bring the guys in to help the girls, whatever. But it's fun. It's a neat event.
Awesome stuff. Let's bring in Rietveld real quick. Obviously, school season has come to an end. It's summer vacation. Tell me about what exciting tournaments or events for local junior golfers we expect to see take place this summer.
That's a good question. I'd have to pull that one up, man. I haven't that prepped on that one. I'll have to get back to you guys on that one. I know they usually have the junior league in Bluffton that bounces around for 4 or 5 tournaments. That's a good question. Most of our big tournaments will come up in the fall and into next spring. So I'll have to double back around on the summer tournaments for you.
Yeah, I've been looking at the the SCJGA tournaments. We were out at the match play last week, which was really cool out at Congaree. Just awesome opportunities that the kids in South Carolina have to play just world-class facilities in these events. We do have the Jimmy Self will be here July 28th through 30th. That used to be a big high school event. Now it's a junior event. That's always a good one. Anything else in this area? I mean, there's all kinds of big ones throughout the summer. The Grant Bennett in Florence, the Blade. There's SCJGA Players Series events all over the place. So we'll definitely keep tabs on them this summer and see who those names are that are popping up as the next generation. And I'm sure some of them will be some of those girls that have been training with Krista. Are there any names we should know, Krista? Some girls that we should be looking out for this summer?
We've got one of our girls that's come through the program, Raman Zetower. She's probably a junior over at May River. Yeah. So I kind of keep tabs on her. She's probably one of, and she started, since she was 7 years old with us. So it's kind of fun seeing her come through the hooks on it. So, then Jeep Patrick, I work with him, so be looking forward to Jeep having a good summer and continue his success.
Excellent player at Hilton Head Prep, where they've got a whole bunch of them. Gosh, they are stacked, absolutely loaded over there. But all right, guys. Well, thanks so much for talking golf with us. We appreciate it, and certainly we'll have a lot more golf to talk about this summer. So we'll have to get you guys back on soon, and we'll wait for some of this PGA Tour stuff to sort itself out, and we'll try to analyze it a little bit more. But thanks so much to Brian Rietveld and Krista Dunton for jumping on with us, and we'll talk golf with you guys real soon.
See you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, Wes. Good talking golf with those guys, and glad that we can finally get Krista on. She is really awesome. You see her teach. She is a force of nature out there. And, I even picked up some things when I was out there the other night. I was like, man, I don't even play anymore, but now I know what I was doing wrong. I got to get back out there and play because Krista got me fixed just taking photos and videos. So she's really awesome. And the fact that she pours it into our kids is just wonderful and a great asset for our community.
As I said, doing yeoman's work, it's really beneficial to, these kids and developing that passion, especially as a young age. That's what really sparks you to stay with and keep going. And, I think we're going to see a lot more girls golf, especially with that rising star on the LPGA just coming out of college. I mean, that's the kind of star that can be that role model for generations of young girls.
Yeah. I mean, the parallels to Tiger Woods are obvious. I mean, she played 2 years at Stanford. She comes out, except Tiger finished 60th in his debut, and she just won hers. I mean, she's on that kind of trajectory, and she has the chance to be that kind of, generational, transformational player, I think, for the women's game. So, I think it's probably been since Annika that we had somebody of that kind of magnitude in the women's game. And, there's been a lot of international players, a lot of Asian players. And, I think it's hard for a lot of fans to really embrace those players for whatever reason, like the language barrier. And it's just, they don't get to know their personalities as well. Rose is obviously of Asian descent, but she's an American girl. She played at Stanford. And I think she's got a chance to really be the face. And I think different from Michelle Wee, who was kind of in the same boat. Michelle went and kind of pushed the boundaries the whole time. She went and she's 14. She's trying to make the cut on the PGA Tour and stuff. And Rose, to on the flip side of that, she went and dominated her age group. She learned how to win, and much like Tiger, and how to strike fear in the hearts of her opponents. And you're seeing that carry over from one level to the next as she moves through the ranks. And I'm excited to watch her develop as a superstar in women's golf. So, all right, Wes. Well, we're closing in on an hour. Any closing thoughts before we call it an episode?
Well, I mean, just to pick back up with the top, I mean, it's just looking at the developments of what we've seen here with the LIV Tour and the PGA Tour joining forces as one. It just goes to say, I mean, it unfortunately comes down to money at the end of the day, and you just see these connections of what has transpired over this past year. You mentioned so many different fictional depictions and stories. And there's a lot of things to learn from this, but at the end of the day, it's disappointing for some of these players who have done the right thing to stay and support the PGA Tour. And obviously, there's another angle perspective on this concerning human rights violations in Saudi Arabia and of the money that can be going towards. So there's an ethical, definitely there's a debate coming that people have talked about this. It's a tough subject. But PGA Tour is, they are inclined to, take advantage of this situation monetarily and grow their brand and give credit to what Liv did to establish that base of opportunity. And we talk about competition all the time, but in this case, that the PGA Tour was willing to take a chance on what the addition of Liv could bring. So obviously there are some cons about this, and you look at the opportunity as well as seeing some of those big name stars showing back together. But we're going to see a lot of debate over these next few days and weeks about, obviously there's so many still unknowns. We don't know what this new entity is going to be called, how it's going to work. So we'll probably have more questions answered in the next few days, but it's an absolutely shocking story that I don't think I expected to see on our phones this morning.
Well, and I don't think you could know the answer to all those questions without engaging the players, which they did not do before they announced this. That's the thing that just blows my mind. Like, it feels like this could have been done in a way where it was brought to the players' attention, discussed, some of the sticking points were talked through, and then an announcement was made. But it seems like, maybe they were afraid of leaks or of whatever. I don't know the strategy behind doing it this way, but man, it feels like they're going into it backwards, and it feels like there is a lot up in the air right now. And we're going to find out, they've always called the PGA Tour a players' league, and we're going to find out real quickly how much power the players really have and how much say they have. And, could there be another splinter league that comes out of this? Who knows? I mean, if the right people with the right money start courting PGA Tour players, who knows? So it's going to be really interesting to see how the golf world reacts to this and how it falls into place. But certainly we got some great insight from Rietveld and Krista Dunton, and it was great to have them on the show. And
great to talk about once again just what Rietveld is doing as well, but especially Krista. I mean, giving back and exploring what can be possible when you give the opportunity to these kids to explore the game of golf themselves and to develop that passion and to use it not just to, chase your dreams of college golf, but to, gain all the lessons that golf teaches you and get that lifetime sport opportunity. So just so many great, things that you can take away from what she's doing, both with these fundraisers and with their programs. And I just hope, they have as much success as possible and continue to grow and continue to, spark that joy and passion in these next, generations of girls and boys to come.
Yeah, no question. And, we've heard for years about the number of scholarships available for women's golf. I mean, it's something that's real. If you're looking to try to parlay athletics into an education, women's golf is definitely one of the paths of least resistance if you can put in the work that it takes to develop that level of skill, because it is a thankless and tireless endeavor out there, just pounding balls on the range and putting and just working on your game. But if you can commit yourself to it and you love doing it, there's definitely a path there for you. So good stuff today, Wes. Great show. Thanks so much to all of our sponsors who make it possible. Thanks to Brian Rietveld and Krista Dunton for jumping in to talk golf with us. And thanks most of all to y'all for showing up to watch or listen. That's the reason we keep doing it. And if you show up on Friday, well, actually, we're going to do it again Friday, whether you show up or not. But we'll see you on Friday for another edition of the LowcoSports Lowdown. We're trying to line up another one of the new football coaches in the Lowco as we continue to power toward Friday Night Lights this fall, be coming before you know it. So that does it for this episode. For Wes Kerr, I'm Justin Jarrett. Until next time, go Lowco.
The Lowco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Lowco.